Alright, what's up everybody? How's it going today? Welcome to another tutorial. Another tutorial. So, it seems like my ribcage videos have been doing really well. So, I think I'm gonna upload the part 3 to how to draw ribcage. And there's so many ways you can approach drawing ribcages. There's literally a lot you can do. I'm actually gonna show you just 3, just so I don't overwhelm you guys. I'm gonna show you just 3 rib cages that you can probably practice. Is it focused? That you can probably practice, you know, and it will get and you'll get the the look right most of the time. So the first one, well, actually, first let's start off with the basics. All right, first you gotta understand where the rib cage is even placed on the body, and you can see my example right here. I sketched out a spine, which is in an S curve shape. You know, it goes in, out, and then out again, and it just follows this rhythm, and that's the way the spine is. And right where the bend happens in the spine, that's where the rib cage sits. So basically, it sits right around here. And just so you know, the spine is always in this position. Okay, you're never gonna see a spine that is like straight up like this. All right. This does not happen. You don't see a spine that's straight up and down, alright? The spine always has a gentle curve to it, alright? A gentle curve like that. That's what the spine looks like. You don't ever want to draw a spine that is just a straight line going down, because that's not how it is, alright? That's number 1. Number 2 is that the spine, basically this part where the section of the rib cage is, this part of the spine, this area right here, does not move. All right, the rib cage keeps these spines locked. The only part of the spine that actually moves is the middle part, which is right around here, and the neck, which is where the head is. All right, so you're only gonna see rotation and bend in the middle of the spine. All right, everything else around here, it stays still. All right, because the rib cage is locking these spines into place, and only these parts are free, which means this part, which is why the body can bend. Like if this is the pelvis, the reason why the body can bend like this is because this part is bending, but this stays straight. All right, and if you can also see the part that bends, it bends up. It makes this shape, okay, and it bends down. But since this is already curved, the rib cage stays in that upturned space. All right, just so you know, that's how the spine works. All right, so just keep that in mind every time you're drawing the rib cage. Is that the spine, it don't move, it don't go nowhere. Okay, it don't go nowhere. Okay, all right. Well, except these parts, the pelvis and this part of the spine, they don't go nowhere. The middle of the spine, that's where it bends. All right. Also, number 3, I don't know what I'm on, but another tip for drawing the rib cage is that you gotta remember is that the rib cage is egg shape. All right, you can see these examples right here. I'm glad I sketched these out ahead of time. Is that you can see the egg shape right now. All right, you can see the egg shape. If I were to draw a line right here, you can see the egg shape doing that. All right, you see that? Anyone? You see that, right? See that? Okay, yeah. You would see the egg shape. You can see the egg shape. There's an arch right here that curves around. I always do like an arch. All right. Most people can do. You can do an A shape. You can even do this shape. It's kind of like a spade. You can do those shapes for the rib cage. They still work the same way. I like an arch because I don't know, personal preference. Okay. Good. Center line, and there's also a plane on the egg. Now this plane is going to be very, very, very important throughout this video, so keep this plane in mind. All right, it's an egg shape with a plane right here. Okay, and of course we have the arch in the rib cage, and remember this arch goes all the way around, making this circle shape. All right, so let's get into it. The first thing you want to do when you're doing the rib cage is you want to start off with either a box or a cylinder, or if you want to get really basic, an oval. So these are the three rib cages I was going to show you. All right, the first one is the one that's most useful to people who are trying to draw perspective, is the box shape. Okay, so you got a line. We're gonna do a perspective shot. He's gonna be like up. We're gonna all do the same position. Okay, the box shape. Okay, most important shape for you to learn is the box, in my opinion. Okay, it's even today still. It's really hard for me to draw. This is actually way too thin. All right, you don't want to make it too fat, but also not thin. Kind of like in that in between area, like that good area. All right. So that's the that is the box shape. All right. This is ribcage number 1. All right. So we're gonna do number 1. Okay. That's ribcage number 1. Okay. Ribcage number 2. Is we're gonna have a little bit of shading, just you know, just to be fancy, why not? Ribcage number 2 is the cylinder, all right? And basically, cylinder shape, you can draw like that, go like that, and then you do like that. Add some shading, just to be fancy, all right? That's number 2, all right? Hope you guys don't hear that. All right, that's number 2. And then finally, sorry, I'm a neat freak when it comes to drawing. I keep on fixing stuff. I shouldn't be doing that. And number 3 is the oval shape. All right. Now this is the one I'm gonna be teaching you guys because it is the easiest way to learn. The box and the cylinder are way advanced. All right. This is for the people who like, bro, I don't got time to be learning how to draw boxes, son. I don't got time for that. I understand, okay? You got it. You cool, all right? Chill, bro, chill. All right. So that is the box, the cylinder, and we have what the heck? There's a ghost in my house. And the oval, all right? Which is basically just this, okay? This is it. This is all you gotta do. Is add an oval shape, all right? Mine's a little bit unneat, but that's okay, because it's all right to be unneat when you're doing your sketching. Who gives a crap? Just in your sketchbook. Do what you want to do. All right. Boom. All right. What makes this even more effective is if you want to, you can taper it and make this thinner. But if you don't feel like doing that, an oval was perfectly fine. You don't gotta do the taper. All right. People say you have to make sure that it's tapered like this. But bro, this is perfectly fine. They work the same way. Who gives a flying monkey? All right. They both work the same way. All right. That's all you gotta remember. Okay. So the thing is, keep in mind, since we're gonna be doing number 3 today, you gotta keep in mind that even though we're showing you the easiest way to do a rib cage, these ways are very useful to learn. Okay, don't ignore these 2. All right, we're gonna be doing this one. We're gonna be doing this guy right here because he is the easiest to learn. But number 2 and number 1, don't overlook them. Okay, they're very, very useful ways to learn, and you must practice how to draw boxes and cylinders if you ever want to learn how to draw in perspective ever. All right, perspective, go to boxes. Tilts, go to cylinders. And this is the easiest way. I got a notification.
Another one.
And this is what should we call it? The easiest way to learn it. Sorry, that threw me off a little bit. So let's just remember 1, 2, and 3: box, cylinder, and regular oval. Remember, this is 3D. Okay. Every time you draw, it's the 3 freaking D. Okay. 3D is the way to go. Now let's just erase this stuff right here in my brain. You like my eraser? It's a brain. It's kind of lit, right? I know. Okay. It's a cool eraser. I like it. Don't judge. All right. So get rid of that. Now, what we're gonna do is get into the actual tutorial. So, the first thing you want to start off with is you want to learn how to draw the oval in different angles in the first place. Now, there's not really that many angles you can do, but because when you're drawing the 2D oval, which is actually 3D, but you draw it, like, think about it, everything you draw is 2D, but you have to make it 3D. all right, that's the whole point of art. You're making something that is on a piece of flat paper look like it's coming out the page. So that's the trick to art. Let's start with this front view. Okay, front view. Get a little bit more lead. Start with the oval. Okay, I'm not gonna be doing the taper shape because it's really useful. Like it's really useless. Like who gives a crap if it's tapered or not? You don't have to do that. Okay. People be teaching this and it's they make it way too complicated. Like come on. This is the easy one, the easy method. We'll do the harder methods later on if you guys continue. If you guys like this video. But here we go. So we got the oval shape. All right. Boom. Boom. Okay, you got that? Good. All right. Now, this is the front view. Remember, front. We're going to put F. So you remember, this is the front view. Front view. FV. Okay, front view. All right. We're going to cut a little circle / ellipse, which is basically an oval like this. Learn how to draw this, guys. It's really useful. Okay. All right. Learn how to draw this, the circle, and then learn how to tilt this circle and make it that. It's basically a sideways oval. Okay. We're going to come out, and we're going to come out of the neck and add another of those still ellipses on there. And then we can, even if you want to, you can add some more in the middle just to make it look a little bit more three-dimensional. If you hear laughing, I think my dad's talking to someone on the phone. I don't know who. Maybe I think someone in the family. But yeah, you got that. Boom. All right. Now, if you don't know, the rib cage is broken down into planes. Okay. Now the planes, it's only really one plane, really, if you think about it, unless you count the ones on the side. So it will be broken down into 3 planes. So we're gonna break it into 3 planes. Okay. The first plane is going to be, we're gonna start. Remember where we made the neck, right? There's a little bit of space there. Okay. We're gonna go from the end of the cylinder. We're gonna follow the contour, not go outside, but follow the contour of the rib cage, kind of making a smaller, tighter rib cage inside of this one. We're not gonna connect it into an oval. We're just gonna come out to the outskirts and just basically cut off the outside of this. Okay? You following? Following? Alright. We cut that off. And then what we're gonna do is cut this straight in half. Okay? I should have done this first, but who cares? It doesn't matter. It's still gonna end up the same way. Okay? So cut it in half. Get the cylinder. We can shade these in just so you know that these are planes. Okay? This is a side plane. This is a side plane. This goes back in perspective. Okay? Also remember that the circle that I don't know why I turned aside, but you gotta remember that the whole rib cage is in 3D. This is not a flat surface. Okay? Then what you want to do is you can what I did was useful because I cut this in half. So actually you can do this. You cut this in half. You can even cut these halves into halves if you want, optional. But you definitely want to cut the first section of the oval you just made in half. And this is where the arch is going to start, okay? Now you got to remember that we have a collarbone, a sternum bone that starts right at the base of the neck and goes down in this shape, okay? I simplify it to like this weird microphone shape, okay? It's not like this in real life, but this is not real life. This is basic anatomy, all right? So you can make a circle at the bottom of the neck that you started right here, the bottom of this, make a circle, and then come down by these 2 triangles. This is the sternum bone, a simplified sternum bone. It works the same way as regular sternum bone. You don't gotta add all the little rivets and stuff, okay? Unless you're drawing a realistic skeleton. But if you're not, if you're just trying to get a base so you can make your characters look cool and look proportional, then all you gotta do is this, alright? Do that, and then once you come down to that half line that you made by cutting this oval in half, you're going to want to come right here, and you can either, like I told you, you can either make the spade shape, the arch, or the A. Okay, these are the 3 options: the spade, the arch, or the A. I prefer the arch. So we're gonna come down. Right, remember when you guys don't forget we made these curves going down, right? What we're gonna do is arch it right here. Boom. Okay. We're going to connect an arch right here. You can do the same thing. You can come down with the spade or do that. You can come down with the A and just go straight down. I like the arch better. I don't know why. I prefer it that way. Okay? Boom. That's the arch. That's the arch. And you gotta remember that the point of where these ends meet is where the plane starts for the rib cage. Is where the plane gets cut off for the rib cage. All right. So after you got that done, what you want to do is one or two things. Okay. We go back to the clavicles, or the collarbones, or the sternocleidomastoid. Is that what it's called? Yeah. I know my anatomy, guys. You know what I'm saying? Oh, and also thing you can do, if you want, you can erase the bottom of the egg because this is not important anymore. And you can even, if you want to, if you do, like I told you, cutting up the ribcage in sections is really useful. Because if you cut this in half, remember we cut this in half. If you cut this in half, you can also just do this and curve it, and this will be the back of the rib cage. You see everything I do has a point. It doesn't mean you have to do it, but you can do it. Okay, so that's it right there. Okay, you can shade it in if you want to, just to look more fancy, you know, just to look fancy, just a little bit fancy. Okay, and boom, that's the back of the rib cage. So that's why I cut it in half in fours. I do 1, 2, 3, 1, and then I got 4 sections, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I can just, you know, it guides me. Everything I do guides me into making this more accurate and basic. So we got that right. Boom. Okay. Now what you want to do is one or two things. I'm going to get these guys out the way because they're bothering me. You can do one or two things. You can make a 3D, but just to make it more simple, we're going to use some stringy lines. We're going to come out. First, we're going to come out as a straight line. So you can either draw a line across the sternum, and this line will end right at these rib cage arches, right at these rib cage planes right here that we made earlier. That's where the line will end, and then right where the line touches these actual planes is where you're gonna come up in an angle, not a hard angle, but a slight angle. Okay, and then you're gonna go out like this. Okay, you see what I did there? I went across, stopped at the planes, up, and then out. Across, up, and then out. And these are the actual collarbones. Now together, the sternum and the collarbones make this whole shape. It's kind of like a dude doing the crane pose, like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? Or it could be like a bicycle or motorcycle handles, whatever you describe it as. Okay. Now you don't want to go too far out. Like you don't want to make the sternums all the way out here, because that ain't correct. All right, that's not correct. And you also don't want to make them too short, because that's not correct either. All right, if anything, the longest you should make it is about the same length as the rib cage, which is like you make a straight line down, and the bottom of the rib cage right here, it should not be longer than this. But I usually go out a little bit more when you're making dudes, or if you're making a girl, you can keep it within this area right now. But you just want to go a little bit further out from the rib cage, and that's that. Okay, all right, so following me now? Boom. So after that, what you want to do is you want to get my favorite shape in the world, the sphere. Okay, not a ball, but a sphere. Okay, a sphere is a rounded circle, which is a three-dimensional circle. All right, and I'm gonna add 2 of them. Okay, I'm gonna get the 2 spheres. I'm gonna add them right at the bottoms of these clavicle bones, collarbones. I'm trying to be all scientific. I don't know the scientific names. I think I'm correct about the clavicle, but yeah, you add 2 ball shapes at the bottom of these collarbones, and they just sit right there. Like, it's like, imagine them hanging off. Okay, they're just hanging off of these bones, and they're just sitting there, like they're stuck to the bottom of these collarbones. Okay, now a common mistake that people make is that they think that the clavicle muscles, bones, that the collarbones stay in the front. Like they think that the rib cage, say this is the rib cage from the side view, which by the way is tilted. Okay, rib cages are not straight unless they force their body to be straight like that. Okay, but they think that the clavicle muscles, say this is the sternum right here, okay? They think that the clavicles go up and just straight out. No, that's not what happens, okay? This is the neck, okay? The clavicles, they go up and they go right, they go around the neck, and this is where the balls or the spheres hang from the clavicle muscles themselves, and this right here is where the shoulder blades attach, which is also what we're going to get into next. Okay, so just remember that from a bottom view, say this is the egg shape. From bottom view, this is the neck circle that we made. This is the back of the body, which is also going to have a dip because there's a spine. Okay, the clavicle is going to be right here. The clavicle muscles, they go out like that line I made, and they go that, and they go like that. Okay, they go like that. The clavicles are a very strange bone to draw because of how complicated they look. Okay, because they're not straight out. Most people think they're just straight like that. No, they go in to the body, and then that's where the balls are hanging off. Balls. This where the spheres are hanging off the body. Okay. All right. So that is the basics of the rib cage. Okay. Now, where we cut this part in half of the rib of the chest is where we're gonna go to the end of this go to the end of one of these spheres. Go right here at the bottom. Come down with this nice curved arch on both sides, and this is where the chest and pectorals connect, because the chest connects to the arms. The chest is not part. The chest is not part of the rib cage. It doesn't connect to the rib cage. It connects from the chest to the arms, and that's what keeps our body together pretty much, by these ligaments and muscles. Okay. We're not going really much into anatomy and muscles on this video, but just so you can clarify, it goes up the part of you go up from this part to the base of where this line is, where we met the collarbones on both sides, and then right here is where you can fan out some muscle tendons and muscle tissues as such, and then they come together to make the chest. All right. Also, there's not like this humongous clavicle muscle in the freaking middle of the chest. There's obviously like a chest line, which is what people usually draw, which is just a chest line. Separates. Also, you can add. When I draw a chest, I add the bottom plane of the chest. I'm gonna do a chest video one day, but I add the bottom plane like this, and I don't know, it just helps me out in a way. And then, of course, we have the arching trapezius muscles. I think it's trapezius muscles. Trapezoids. I need to brush up on my anatomy names. I know the anatomy. I just the names just they be leaving me. The names be leaving me sometimes. The names be leaving me. Okay. But yeah, these are the trapezius muscles that come down, and then of course the arms. Oh, there's also back muscles that attach in the back, and then that's when the arms come out. Yada yada, like this. Do whatever you want. But yeah, that is the first rib cage that we learned today, which is the front view. Now we're gonna go on to a side view, which is way more easy to do. Okay, so remember, I already have my example right here. You can see the arch of the S curve of the spine. Okay, it S curves slightly and then gets way more S-y, like at the bottom. S-y, that's not a word, but it gets way more curvy at the bottom of the rib, of the spinal cord. So what we do when we approach that, we're just going to do the rib cage right now, but just remember the spinal shape and why the rib cage and body is shaped the way it is. It's because of the spine. More lead, please. We're going to start off with another oval like we did here. Okay, except we're going to tilt it. Okay, we're tilting it this way. Okay, tilting it this way. Start up with a regular oval, just tilt it a little bit. It's not that hard to draw a tilted oval, you know what I'm saying? If you have to, if you really can't draw an oval, tilt it sideways, you can just turn the sketchbook, draw it straight on, but then when you turn it back straight, it's tilted for you. So you gotta use the sketchbook in creative ways if you find yourself struggling with that. But yeah, you do that, boom, the oval is tilted. I keep on moving the sketchbook. The rib cage is tilted. Let me straighten this out a little bit. Let me get this all straightened out. The rib cage is tilted. What you want to do now is, first you want to go to the top of the neck. You want to add a slight line. If you cut the line in half, like I add this line on accident, but it also does help to cut this ball in half. And if you want to, you can cut it in half again, which will also help us out. So cut it into fourths, and then you come up. Remember, the neck sticks out in an angle. Okay, so it goes boom, and then it goes boom. Okay, sticks out in an angle. All right, boom. Leave that there where it is. Okay. Now this is actually a really exaggerated arch. I don't think the ribcage arches that much. This is more for women when, you know, they're trying to poke that thing out. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Sorry. But yeah, but mostly for women when they're arching their backs. But whatever, we're gonna roll with it. Then what I do is right at the base of like the top of this oval that we made. That's where I add the circle. Because this is this part. Remember, we're seeing this from the side view. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, add that circle, and then also what I do is right here where this neck is, I come down all the way to the ball, connect, and then right here at the other top of the neck, I come down again. Okay, connect it in this ice cream cone shape that we've recognized over here, and I also add some contour lines just so it's three-dimensionally if you want three-dimensionality. All right, I make a small little divot space box for the rib cage, for not rib cage, for the collarbone. Connect it. I can usually make it 3D if I want to. And then what I do is sometimes if I want to, I can make this plane flat. I'm not gonna do that right now. You can leave it arched. It doesn't really make a difference. But right here is where you want to cut the oval in half again. Just like we did here, we cut the oval in half. We cut this oval in half again. You can eyeball the half mark. Like, it's not that hard to eyeball this. Okay? And then right here is where you want to come in and make this shape. Now this shape is this shape, but just from a side view. Because if you think about it, the rib cage is rounded. If you cut a piece of the freaking oval out, it's like from a side view, it's gonna make this arch shape. Okay. Some people draw it just, you know, regular way. I like to add this arch shape just because I don't know. That's just how I draw the anatomy. Okay. Roll with it. Okay. So I do this, and then. Actually, my battery's dying. I don't have time to do any more other angles, so this is probably gonna be the last one for today. I do this, add an arch, and then when I cut this arch in half, I add another what you call it? Another plane, which is the front plane. Remember, front plane, front plane. This is the back plane. I also add. You can either leave it like this, which is perfectly fine. It doesn't make a difference. It looks good with this like that. But if you want to get really technical, the shoulder blades will stick out kind of slightly as a diamond shape, come in like that, and then you can just curve it off. So it's like a boom boom and then a boom, and then it comes down to this nice point of the rib cage, which is what you can draw. Some people draw the rib cage in different ways. This is how I do it. Like I said, this is just a way you can do it, not the way to do it. And then you can of course add the body and such to the rib cage, and of course the head, yada yada boom bang, who cares. But that is basically how you draw the rib cage. I don't have much time to do anything else, guys. I'm super sorry at the end of this video. I wish I could show you some more.
So the video cut out, basically. Sorry about that. Peace. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, comment, subscribe, do all that. You know how it be. You know, it's hard out here for a YouTuber these days. You know what I'm saying?